Shadows of Evil is often considered the best zombies map of all time. While that is very debatable amongst many zombies fans and the top 5 zombies maps with things like Origins, Horizon, Dragon, and Shadows, I'm here to tell you my opinions on the map and what I think about it today. So, starting us out as always is the lore. So after the events of Origins and in Richthofen's goal to secure a better tomorrow, Richthofen needed to secure the artifact known as the Summoning Key, the most powerful artifact in this or any other universe. The Summoning Key is an artifact created by the Keepers, which wields the power to manipulate the ether to the holder's will. In order to prevent the Summoning Key from getting into evil hands, the Keepers banished the key to a city named Morgue City, in the back of a truck to be precise. However, it was sealed within an ancient magic box that could not be opened by normal means. The Apothegons, who were Keepers corrupted by the Dark Ether after being banished there from the War of Agartha, catch wind of this, and their leader, the Shadow Man, who is somehow free from the Purgatory, is bound by rules to not interfere with humanity's free will. So the Shadow Man poses as multiple people to give various citizens of Morgue City to commit heinous sins so he can trap them inside a pocket dimension, which is a carbon copy of Morgue City containing the box with the Summoning Key. It's very reminiscent to the Alcatraz pocket dimension. Eventually, these citizens bend to the Shadow Man's will and commit very heinous sins, and when this happens, the Shadow Man traps all 4 members of the crew there. However, when he trapped them there and posed as various people, he never revealed his true identity, and when the crew is trapped inside the pocket dimension, he reaches out. He'll help get them out of this pocket dimension, and what he needs is the Summoning Key. So he curses the Morgue City cast and allows them to turn into Apothecan beasts. After they do so, they destroy a box containing the Summoning Key, grab it, perform rituals by sacrificing some people close to them to open a gateway for all the Apothecans to flood into Dimension 63. When this happens, the Shadow Man takes the Summoning Key and disappears, turning on the Morgue City cast and revealing his true intention. Now with the Apothecans flooding Morgue City and Dimension 63 at large, what ends up happening is the Keepers are here too, and the Keepers help the Morgue City cast defeat the Shadow Man. The Keepers request power of the swords hidden behind an ancient wall, kind of similar to the box containing the Summoning Key. After opening the wall, they grab the swords, hand them to the Keepers, and they all, in an epic battle with the Shadow Man, manage to trap inside the Summoning Key. After sealing the Shadow Man and the Summoning Key, the Apothecans are for the most part banished from the dimension. However, the portal isn't closed, and before the Keepers have the chance to shut the portal, Richthofen swoops in and steals the Summoning Key, teleporting himself to the Giant to set his plan in motion. And because of this, the Apothecans eventually end up destroying Dimension 63 at large. The story, of course, is always really good stuff, and for being an opener of a new game, I think they hit the nail on the head very well. So, with the lore covered, let's move on to some of the gameplay-centric features. So, kind of like Kino or Totem, where I counted the Quick Revive change as a Kino feature, I'm going to be counting the BO3 changes to Shadows of Evil introductions. So we have Gobblegums, Sliding, 3 hit downs, Aggressive AI, and Double Pack-a-Punch. So we have Gobblegums, which are pretty much just modifiers, which are freaking awesome, and I can never get enough of them. I think the system works well enough for what it is. It's of course monetized, but I think because it's optional, it's perfectly fine to have it in the mode. Sliding is something introduced, of course, in Black Ops 3 as well, and I'm just going to count it for Shadows of Evil since it's the first map in the game. Sliding I much prefer over Dolphin Diving because you can actually do slide hopping, which gets you around the map a lot faster, and it's just always a welcome addition in my book, along with 3 hit downs. I've had many a time in Black Ops 2 where I get windmilled at a window on round 1 and die because of it. However, this doesn't really happen as much in BO3, but to compensate for this, the AI is much smarter and much more aggressive, so you can argue it circumvents itself, but if you keep moving, you really shouldn't be in too much trouble. You'll especially not be in trouble with the Double Pack-a-Punch feature. You're able to pack-a-punch your gun again after pack-a-punching it once to get an AAT on it, which has infinite damage. Very controversial, but personally I don't have a problem with it considering how pretty much every wonder weapon is also infinite damage. And with the zombies infinitely scaling health, I have no problem with Double Pack-a-Punch at all. Anyway though, with those Black Ops 3 centric changes being introduced of course onto Shadows of Evil, I think this map is already off to a fantastic start. And to keep the momentum going, we have the digging mechanic from Origins is actually back in the form of the Fumigator. So of course in the spawn room there's 1 Fumigator, already a downgrade from Origins having 2. You grab the Fumigator and you'll notice these pods around the map. They change from green, go to red, then purple. The longer you let them wait, the better rewards they give. For example, a green pod is most likely going to give you grenades, however a purple pod is more likely to give you something like a max ammo ray gun or a piece of the new wonder weapon, which is of course buildable, another great thing. Personally, while I'm torn between the two, I like the consistency of Origins being able to just dig up everything except the ice staff piece, of course when it's snowing, but of course it snows very early so it's not really a big deal. Both are very good and both have their pros and cons, and in general the digging mechanic is just very good, just like the map flow itself. If there's a map that is almost perfect perfect in terms of flowing, it's definitely this map. This map is kind of like Direct in the fact it has a central area that splits into 3 different pathways. We have Canals, Footlight, and Waterfront. Each are pretty much the same exact thing with slight variations, but each house very important parts of the map. Various different pieces of equipment and quest items are in these parts, and they all flow well, and they all have a purpose, and you want to go to all of them at least a few times per game. So I think they serve their purpose very well. Also considering how they all have teleporters, so you can easily get from one side of each of them to the other very quickly by opening a secret room under the map, which links them all together. This is where the Pack-a-Punch room is, and the Pack-a-Punch quest at large is very cool. As I was telling you about in the lore, those rituals you actually perform in-game, sacrificing a person very close to the character one is playing as in the game. Anyway, though, after you, of course, do the 4 rituals, you go to the secret room, which opens up a giant weird upside-down castle-looking thing with pieces of the Great War foretold on the walls of the map. This is really cool and always awesome lore world-building stuff that I can never get enough of personally. And of course, doing the ritual is like a mini boss fight where you have to hold off a bunch of keepers and kill them before the portal that lets all the apothecans flow and opens up, and actually opens up Pack-a-Punch too, which is a very cool way to introduce Pack-a-Punch, as it intertwines itself with the story, which I think definitely deserves a lot of credit. Something else I think deserves a lot of credit is the new wonder weapon, the Apothecon Servant. I'll keep this one short as it's not really too different. It's pretty much an insanely powerful thunder gun on crack. You shoot it, it kills everything in sight, and is literally the ultimate get out of jail free card that can create drops. It's absolutely broken, and I can never get enough of this thing. However, you cannot upgrade it, so that is definitely something to keep in mind, along with the new wonder gadget. Yes, there's actually a new wonder gadget on this map. It's called the Lil Arnie's. It's pretty much just a monkey bomb with an Apothecon twist. Very good stuff nonetheless. However, something new to Black Ops 3 at large is the Specialist system. The Specialist is a third weapon that's not a shitty mule kick gun that you need to do a quest to get. In the case of this map, you need to obtain the Apothecon Egg. This is done by looking for 3 symbols around the map, and after you find the 3 symbols around the map, you go down to the area linking all the parts of the map together, enter a code on the wall, get the egg, and then open 4 statues inside of Beast Mode, which is a new mechanic on this map reminiscent of Afterlife, and fill them all up with zombie souls. After getting them at all 4 locations, you bring the egg back down, and you grab the sword, and you have a wonder weapon of almost infinite damage. This thing is so fucking fun to use, and I love getting it every time I play the game. I will say the quest to get it is very stupid, especially the part we need to ride the tram, which is a fast travel, which isn't very fast or reliable, but regardless, it's how you get the thing, and I would argue it is worth it, but it is definitely a little tedious to get, especially for something that's not infinite damage. Oh wait, it can be upgraded. Yes, it can be upgraded. Go back to the part of the map that your character resides the most with, and you'll see a keeper floating above the table. Going up to them, you can hold the interact button to accept the Arch Ovum, which is the Reborn Sword quest. Doing so, for the next 4 rounds, you need to go around to all the locations of the map, place your Arch Ovum, and then destroy a bunch of the new mini-boss zombie, which we'll talk about in a minute. After doing that, you go back, you get the upgraded sword, and instead of what was originally the sword slash and then the sword spike, you have the sword slash, and then you can call a mini version of your sword out to kill zombies for you. Kind of like a Maxstrone type of thing. Personally, I like the sword slam a lot better than this thing, but the fact it's not infinite damage means you have to upgrade it. After you upgrade it, though, it is infinite damage, so that is definitely something to keep in mind. Overall, an awesome thing that does not hurt to get. You don't need it to have fun, but if you do get it, your game is going to be a lot more fun. Overall, a great thing. Just like the new Beast Mode system. Yes, it's pretty much just Afterlife, but it isn't Afterlife. I don't know which one I prefer more. I probably prefer Afterlife more because after you use one of the Beast Mode totems, which are pretty much the Afterlife boxes, what ends up happening is you can't use it for the remainder of the round, which is kind of stupid. I don't understand that logic. And there's also no counter telling you how much you have. For what it is, though, it's pretty good, as you can actually revive teammates with it, which is something you couldn't do with Afterlife. Overall, it's a great mechanic in addition to the map. We also have a new version of the shield called the Rocket Shield, which is what it says on the tin. It's a zombie shield, but it has a rocket feature, which is infinite damage. But if you charge into 11 hordes of zombies with it in a row without missing once, you actually get an upgrade for it, which gives you an extra charge and makes your shield take a lot more hits. However, the upgrade goes away as soon as it breaks, so it's not even worth it. However, the shield is always a welcome addition, and any spins on the shield is always welcome. Just like the new perk, Widow's Wine, which I have, by the way. Sorry, you wouldn't get it. Anyway, yes, a new perk finally. It feels like it's been a minute since we got one. But yeah, we have a new one. And this one is literally Jug 2.0. You grab it, you get hit by a zombie, they get entangled in a spider web. It's a balancing factor, of course. If you're training zombies, you get hit, some stand still, and they can block your path and kill you. So I think the perk is very good. It's great for Easter eggs, steps where you need to stand still. It's just a very good perk overall. It is 4,000 points though, so keep that in mind. Something else to keep in mind is the new boss zombies on this map. We have the Margwa. The Margwa is like the Panzer, but not as dangerous, I would argue. The Margwa cannot be killed with bullets alone. He needs to have one of his 3 heads shot, and those heads are not open at all times, so you need to be keeping a constant eye on this guy. You can't just blindly fire at him. You need to make sure you're aiming at the right places. However, destroying each head gives you 500 points, for a grand total of 1500 that's stacked with double points, and the boss itself is very difficult, as he can teleport across the map, he can do a slam, he can send out parasites, which are a new enemy on this map, he can do a various amount of things, and especially one-shot you without jugs, so you gotta be careful, make sure you have a good gun to take this guy down. The parasites you shoot out are pretty much just, think of hellhounds, but they do less damage, they're bugs, and they just shoot stuff at you. They don't do much damage, unlike the Insanity Elementals, which are actually a new boss zombie on this map too, that spawn in with parasites. They're like wraps, pretty much, just think of that. Also, something fun I noticed in this map that doesn't really belong on either section is the fact when you drink a perk on this map, for one, it has a unique perk icon that doesn't appear anywhere else in Zombies, which is really cool. This map used to have a unique max ammo icon before it was removed. And for some reason, when you drink a perk, it's the loudest thing on the planet.
So loud.
Ugh. Anyway, with the long list of good covered, now we need to talk about the bad things of the map, starting with the characters. I'm ripping the band-aid off. These 4 as a whole are just bad, okay? I know there are some people who like these characters, but for me, they're insufferable for the most part. I think Jackie and Nero are pretty good, especially Jackie. He's probably my favorite of the crew. But Floyd and Jessica are 2 of the worst characters in the entire series. Floyd is just nothing. I understand that's his whole purpose, but it doesn't make it good. He is not fun to play as. He's not fun to listen to. He has no interesting quotes whatsoever, and his personality is that of a paint can. He has nothing unique about him other than the fact, of course, his sin in the intro cutscene. But other than that, he's nothing. He has no purpose here. He literally just serves as a 4th character, so there's not only 3. And not to mention, one of those 3 also suck, known as Jessica Rose. The most insufferable character inside of Zombies history, in my opinion. I can't stand her. She is absolutely a pain to listen to. If you get her, reset. Bind fast restart to one of your keys, and reset that motherfucker as many times as possible to not play as her. Why the flying fuck is she such a piece of shit to every person on her team? This is actually the first map with in-person dialogue between the characters, and every last one of her quotes is her being a snarky piece of shit for no good reason. I have not seen a character as bad as this one. Jessica Rose is easily the worst character in the entire franchise, in my personal opinion, and it doesn't get much worse than she does. Everything wrong with a playable character is present inside of Jessica. She's not funny, she's not interesting, she doesn't have interesting lore, she is just a bumbling idiot like Floyd, and both characters drag this crew down to the depths of hell. I don't understand what they were thinking with this crew. This crew sucks, considering how 50% of them are terrible. Jackie and Nero are not better than anything released previously, maybe comparable to something on Call of the Dead or something, but these 2 are decent but nothing special, and the last 2 are garbage. I know there are people out there that like them, and I'm sorry, but this is just my opinion, and this entire video is just my opinion on what I think, and I think they did a terrible job with the characters on this map overall. I also am not a fan of the aesthetic of the map either. I just don't like the whole 1900 aesthetic of this map. It never sat with me, considering how we went from something as badass as Origins to something as lame as this. This map aesthetic is just mediocre, just like the Easter egg, where once again you need 4 players. Who is surprised at this point? 1 step forward, 20 steps back, let's go. What are the steps? You upgrade the Apothicon Sword, you do a flag step, and then you're at the boss fight, so that didn't take very long, now did it. Oh, wait, there's a step after the boss fight, and you can do it all the way solo? But the last step, for some reason, you need 4 players for, instead of just making it be able to done solo? What's the last step like? 3 players need to go into beast mode, kill infinitely spawning Margwas with the most confusing version of beast mode, and the most irritating step that is comparable to buried sharpshooter step with coordination. If you are in a public game, you're never doing the Easter egg. If you're with friends without a mic, you're never doing the Easter egg. Even with the mic, you're not doing the Easter egg. The step is fucking terrible. You gotta shock a box, the person in the middle needs to shock all 3 keepers, and then the cutscene will play. That's approximately 6 seconds long. Yippee. Terrible Easter egg. I'm not even going to go into it at this point. And it sucks too, because that's the end of the bad section. This map did so much well, but its aesthetic, the characters, and the Easter egg just drag it down to heck for me, man. I am just not a fan of this map's whole style. This map is very good, minus everything about the map that isn't gameplay oriented. Aesthetics matter greatly. Every gameplay related feature of this map is almost perfect. There's really no problems I have, and the Easter egg steps are super easy. I know I was clowning around around a bit with the Easter eggs and you need to upgrade the Apothicon Sword. That should take a good like 30 minutes. It's not like it takes 2 seconds to do. But the fact you need 4 players completely ruins the Easter egg, so I don't even find a point in talking about the steps or having fun with it. I think the map for what it is passable and serviceable. It's not something I'd ever go out of my way to play. I know for a launch map, a lot of people hated it on launch from how complex it was. I mean, I didn't like it because of the fact of the characters themselves and the aesthetic. I thought the complex nature was fine, but I'm sorry, this map's aesthetic just doesn't do it for me. I know so many people like it, and it's so many people's favorite, but this is nowhere near my favorite. I think it's decent for what it is, and it's definitely a fun time with friends, but that's about it for this map.